Good evening, hello and welcome to Plain Speak. I'm Anusha Soni. Amidst persistent attacks coming in from the BJP, Congress MP Rahul Gandhi has refused to back down on his comments that he made pertaining to Indian democracy. Launching an attack on the ruling BJP government, Rahul Gandhi in his latest tweet has said that it's the duty of every Indian everywhere in the world to speak up for India. Top ministers and BJP leaders have criticized the statement of Rahul Gandhi that he had earlier made at the Cambridge University, calling it against India's national security and against national interests. The key question that Congress party must ideate upon is whether this narrative really represents the political messaging of the grand old party in the run-up to 2024. The BJP government has always stood strong on the plank of national security, while the Congress party is often found on the back foot. In an information age where countries are actively working for creating the right image and perception, do these statements help brand India? While each and every individual has the right to criticize their government and even institutions, is this issue about the right to dissent, or whether this is sheer political desperateness as accused by the BJP? Let's break down the story for you. First, the comments that have been made by Rahul Gandhi. Rahul Gandhi continues to make these stinking remarks against key institutions in the country, arguing that democracy is in some sort of danger. Let's tell you what he has said so far on legislature. Rahul Gandhi has said that the opposition is not allowed to speak on the floor of the House and raise issues in Parliament. That's what he said. Let's come to executive. What he has said. Rahul Gandhi has claimed that central agencies, Enforcement Directorate, Income Tax, CBI Department, all of them are being misused by the government to harass opposition leaders. It didn't stop there. It went to the judiciary as well. The Congress MP said that all institutions, including Indian judiciary, are under attack, and he also said that somewhere the integrity of the judiciary is also under threat. The press, not on one occasion but on multiple occasions, Mr. Gandhi said that he alleged that media is being controlled by the government and those questioning the government are being attacked. What has the BJP said so far? One press conference after another, multiple netas of the BJP have come forward and said this is not the right narrative. The BJP has launched an all-out attack on Rahul Gandhi. Number one, they argue that Rahul Gandhi's comments are utterly shameful. They do not represent what India stands for. They also go on to say that Rahul Gandhi's claims on Parliament are false and baseless, and all opposition parties have been given the opportunity to voice their dissent and their views on the floor of the House. The BJP also argues that Rahul Gandhi is hurting the spirit of India's consensus and multiculturalism. There is also the political allegation that the Congress party or Rahul Gandhi wants some kind of foreign intervention on internal matters. The Congress party should disown Rahul Gandhi's statements. That's what the BJP asserts. Interestingly, not just the political jibes. Let's also tell you a little bit about Rahul Gandhi's performance in Parliament in the 17th Lok Sabha, which began in 2019. First, the attendance. Now, according to the data provided by the PRS, the Congress Neta's attendance in Parliament is roughly about 52% in average, which is way below the national average of about 79%. You had some top bureaucrats coming forward and arguing, look, why is he not performing in Parliament and why is he only about making political statements? We'll tell you the side of the Congress party as well, but here's a report card. Let's look at the number of debates he has participated in. According to the data, Rahul Gandhi took part in about 6 debates, whereas the national average is roughly around 41. It is also argued that he has asked just about 92 questions to the government so far, the national average at 163. The argument of the political opponents is that he could do much more as a member of Parliament. Over the aspect of private members' bill, where, individual MPs can put forward a special legislation, Rahul Gandhi has not introduced any private members' bill so far. The national average, interestingly, is 1.2. Let's take a deep dive into Rahul Gandhi's attendance in Parliament during 2023 budget session. The attendance was at 40% in 2022. If you talk about the budget session, the attendance was roughly at 52%, monsoon session 56%, winter session was 0% because he was busy with the Bharat Jodo Yatra. Those were the political commitments. 2021, his attendance in the budget session was about 54% and monsoon session was 71%, winter session 83%. In 2020, the year when the COVID began, his attendance was 70% in the budget session, much higher. Let's talk about 2019. His attendance was 57% and in the budget session roughly about 40%. Now, as the BJP continues to mount attack on Rahul Gandhi for his comments overseas, the Congress party has also given a rebuttal. They have said, look, he has a right to make his arguments. The Congress party argues that Rahul Gandhi's statements are being twisted. And that's not what he means. It's a sheer criticism that he's put on the global platform. The Congress party also goes on to say that Rahul Gandhi has criticized the Prime Minister and the government in United Kingdom, and it should be taken in the spirit of criticism, not as something anti-national. They go on to argue, the Congress party goes on to argue that criticism of the government is not criticism of a nation. That's a line that they want to draw. It's further argued by the Grand Old Party that Rahul's statements in UK were nothing but facts, something that found the support of the likes of Sharad Pawar as well. Global rankings on India are proof of Rahul's statements, once again citing various data which have come into public domain, disputed, of course, as to the state of Indian democracies. Now, interestingly, what is it that the opposition parties are saying? In the run-up to 2024, the opposition unity, the much talked about concept on this key issue, is there a consensus amongst the opposition party? And amid all the heated war of words between the BJP and the Congress, let's take a look at how other political opponents have reacted. Now, sources have told CNN News 18 that Mamata Banerjee's TMC has refused to endorse Rahul Gandhi's comments. After all, the BJP says this is about national security. There's support coming in from NCP chief Sharad Pawar, who has openly backed Rahul Gandhi and said he has said something which is factual, on the global platform. Aam Aadmi Party has also stayed very, very cautious. They have maintained a distance from Rahul Gandhi's statements that he has made so far. Uddhav Thackeray's son and Shiv Sena UBT MLA Aditya Thackeray openly agreed to what Rahul Gandhi has said. Meanwhile, Akhilesh Yadav Samajwadi Party prefers to raise this issue on the floor of the House in Parliament rather than abroad. Well, that's the key question that we continue to ask as Rahul slams the centre again. Is this desperation, political desperation, or a real right of dissent that every Indian citizen in a democracy really has? We talk about this story.
The way BJP responds, right? It's not interested in a conversation. They've decided that they know what's going on. Nobody else in the country understands what's going on. And that's it.
इस तरह की बात किसी से आज तक न सुनने को मुझे मिली, न मेरी जानकारी।
सरकार को गाली देते रहते हैं, मोदी जी को गाली देते रहते हैं, और जो सबसे ज्यादा बोलते हैं वही बोलते हैं कि बोलने नहीं दिया जा रहा है।
Ask the Congress National President Mr. Kharge, do you support shameful comment of Rahul Gandhi that America and Europe must intervene in India to restore democracy?
Well, let's open this up to our guests who are joining us on the broadcast. Aparajita Sarangi, the BJP MP, is joining us on the broadcast. We also have Advocate Mahima Singh from the Congress Party. Ashok Sajjanar, who's a former diplomat, is also with us on the show. Karan Verma, author and analyst. And Mr. Abhishek Sudhir, who's a political analyst, is also joining us on the broadcast. Advocate Mahima Singh, coming to you first. There's a direct question that the BJP has posed for the Grand Old Party. Is Rahul Gandhi demanding some kind of foreign intervention? Are his statements antithetical to national security and national interest?
Good evening, all. I start by reiterating these lines, and then I'll tell whose lines are these. All their speeches were full of communal poison. As a final result of the poison, the country had to suffer the sacrifice of the invaluable life of Gandhiji. Those are Sardar Patel's lines that were written down right before they banned the RSS from the country, and everybody knows what followed. So what Rahul Gandhiji is going abroad and saying today is only reflective of the actions of the organization RSS and the BJP. If they find it shameful, they rather correct their actions. I think there's a call for correction of their actions rather than call for the narrative, because the narrative will be, because the BJP is a narrative-driven party. They think that they can do anything, but they can project something else, absolutely diametrically opposite, which is why they think that whatever is happening in the country is not known to the world. So if they want the world not to see it this way, then they'll have to make it the other way around. They'll have to start respecting the democracy. They'll have to, set the narrative right by including the opposition in key decisions, by not attacking or sabotaging the institutions like BBC in a democratic country, which they call the mother of democracy, but murder the democracy every day in, day out.
Advocate Mahima Singh, in all respect to you as a panelist, I allowed you to finish your arguments and you have a right to do that. But there are a lot of vague assertions that you've made as a panelist, and I will give you the opportunity to respond. It's one thing for the opposition parties to disagree with the elected government of this day and say, look, you need to pull up and you need to do much, much better. It's another thing to go on foreign soil and say Indian democracy is in danger, our institutions are not working. Are you trying to say that all elections that have happened in which the Congress party has lost is some kind of reflection of compromised institutions? Because the argument coming in from the BJP is you are just politically desperate, and that is why your leader is going abroad and making such statements.
Why, Anusha, before 2014 did Mr. Narendra Modi not go abroad and say that, how the country is functioning? And thereafter, even after winning the elections, he went abroad and he said that now finally you can say that you are an Indian with proud. What did he mean? That when Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee led the country, or when Pandit Nehru led the country, or when Dr. Manmohan Singh led the country, one could not say proudly that they are Indians? When India was pulled out of recession, dire times by our then prime ministers, were we not living in good times? So, to say that a party which has repeatedly called women leaders of the other parties in a derogatory manner, have not insulted the country, or that have gone out of the country and spoken about the country in an erratic manner, today suddenly that what Rahul Gandhi ji is doing is wrong. I would say that in a parliament where the critical parts of leaders of opposition are expunged, the questions are not even taken up, the debates are delayed and derailed, I would say that what Mr. Rahul Gandhi has done is appropriate, and is not only appropriate, but it was the call of the time.
It was the call of the time. That's what the Congress party is saying. Aparajita ji, I'm coming to you. If Rahul Gandhi is not politically important, then why so much reaction on what he says on foreign soil coming in from the ruling party of the day, which has the mandate of over 1 billion people?
After the tremendous success of Bharat Jodo Yatra within the country, Rahul Gandhi ji goes to London Yatra and issues such kind of statements. Puerile, immature, irresponsible, and far from the truth. These are the words and expressions that come to my mind when I hear Rahul Gandhi. See, he has been a habitual offender. I would like to say this with all conviction at my command. And I have instances with me. I have a long list of these kinds of statements having been made by him in the past too. I remind you of 2017. He had gone to the University of California. And you know what he said then? He said, the government of Prime Minister Narendra Modi is trying to spread hatred and violence in India, number one. Number two, immediately after taking over as the president of Congress party in January 2018, he had gone to Bahrain. I think it was his first visit to a foreign land after assuming the presidency. And he had said, the government of Prime Minister Narendra Modi has failed on all fronts. It has not been able to create employment for the people. And last in this list, the small list that I'm carrying now, in August 2018, he went to Hamburg in Germany. And there also he said something which was not to be said against Prime Minister Modi and the government. So what does it signify? You know, this is all frustration which is being seen, and he has faced a very tough situation within the country. We are here to listen to him. I have heard him. I am a member of parliament. To say that he is not being heard within the country is far from the truth, divorced from reality. In Bharat Jodo Yatra from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, he has been talking ill of Prime Minister Modi and his government all through, number one. Number two, he went to the northeast during Tripura, Nagaland and Meghalaya elections, and he all, I would say that he had to say anything and everything against Prime Minister Modi and the government.
You know,
and
Aparajita ji, I think the criticism which is coming in,
and in the Sanssad
the
also,
criticism which is coming in, I think the spirit of the criticism is beyond one political party or one political leader. It's talking directly about the institutions in the country, which I think is a far more serious charge to make when somebody is taking pot shots at a political opponent or one particular leader. Before I go to other guests, Mahima ji, I want to come back to you. As a student of law and politics, I believe there was only one instance when the institutions of Democratic Republic India were compromised, and that was the emergency era. Does the Congress party have moral currency to ask these questions? That's what BJP is asking you.
Thanks for that question, Anusha, because that was one instance, and we say Kshama Virasya Bhushanam. We have apologized n number of times for that one, event in the country, upcoming event, and we still maintain that our leaders, Mr. Rahul Gandhi, has apologized to the country and have repented for that. But I would say that that was one explicit instance where you knew what is happening in the country. Now, for 8 years, an Uttarakhand happens in 2016, a president's rule happens in various countries. The Jammu and Kashmir is lurking for its statehood and for its political reaffirmations, but in vain, because how this party is functioning in this country, they are on their own majority only in 10 states, but they project as if they own this country, this diverse country, this democracy which they are sabotaging. So we are living in times of illusion. This party has succeeded at creating an illusion for the people. And what you're asking me, I would say that no, Anusha. In today's time, every institution is being compromised. Every constitutional process is being compromised. The very Bible of democracy, the Constitution of India, is being compromised by this party, the BJP in this country, at the behest of the RSS. And I think that needs to be seen as it is. Let's call a spade a spade. That's what you think is a spade, but BJP thinks otherwise. We'll continue this discussion with our political guests, but Mr. Ashok Sajjanar, the former diplomat, is also with us on the show. Sir, you're expert in foreign relations. You understand these nuances better than any of us. When a leader like Rahul Gandhi makes statements like these on foreign soil, what kind of image do we project of the country? What kind of messaging does really come across? What's your assessment of the statements that Mr. Gandhi has made?
Thank you, Anusha. Thank you for having me on your program. When a leader of this nature goes outside the country and makes such statements, it is extremely harmful as far as the country is concerned. If such statements were to be made within India, then, people know what is the credibility of the individual who's saying it. When he goes outside, he is going from a major party, from an important party. They think that, whatever he's going to say is going to be factually accurate and factually correct. But what Rahul Gandhi has been saying is, absolutely inaccurate in terms of, state of democracy. I think the whole world is today applauding the state of democracy in India. Elections take place here. And there's a very smooth changeover as far as the governments are concerned. Not only elections, but even as far as the impact of democracy. Even you would recall that even in last year in May, when President Biden met Prime Minister Modi, he said India is a democracy which is not only functioning, but it also delivers, because India's democracy has delivered over the last 8-9 years. From being the 10th largest economy in the world, it has graduated to become the 5th largest economy in the world. And very soon, by the end of this decade, it's going to become the 3rd largest. It has been able to pull out 450
Mr. Sajjanar, there's one more question that I want to understand from you. This entire culture of opposition leaders going abroad and criticizing not just the government, the elected government or a particular political leader, I think that's fine. But, making these sweeping assertions about Indian democracy, institutions, is this culture particular to India, or you see it in much more mature democracies like UK and US as well?
No, I don't think, it comes out in such a blatant fashion as this. In some veiled comments once here or, as an aside, they might make it. And that also in a one-to-one conversation. Definitely not out in the open like this, meaning when he says that, I'm shocked and I'm surprised that Europe and USA, which are supposed to be the protectors and the defenders of democracy, are not doing anything about it.
Yeah.
Meaning, what is implied? Do we want them to come here
exactly.
and set, according to him, democracy is not working? Democracy
Karan, coming to you, these are such loosely used words. Democracy is in danger. Institutions are being compromised,
and it doesn't exist.
And more importantly, it becomes very difficult to substantiate those assertions because constitutionally and legally speaking, India is as much a democracy as it was 8 years ago, and much more so with growing time and in the age of information. These kind of assertions being made on an international platform has not served well for the Congress party as well. If you look at their results electorally, a party which has been on the back foot on various issues, including national security, and I'll take that question to Advocate Mahima Singh as well. Karan.
Anusha, not only are they very unhealthy, and it's unprecedented for someone from the opposition to go out there and say democracy is dead and to almost seek foreign intervention in that. I think he's also violative of his oath as a member of parliament, because as a member of parliament, you take the oath of upholding the integrity and sovereignty of the nation. Rahul Gandhi today is guilty of violating that oath. And coming from Rahul Gandhi, someone whose party has used Article 356 93 times to topple elected governments. Somebody whose party very recently charged a sedition charge on a person who just in Chhattisgarh complained of constant electricity disruptions. 9,000 activists were slapped with sedition charges under UPA government. To talk about democracy and liberty coming from Rahul Gandhi and Congress, it's pretty rich. And let me tell you this, the nation is enraged at this because you can do whatever you want. You can have a healthy conversation. We have it every day on your shows, other shows. But to defame the country and to broad brush it like this, it is unprecedented. And even Congress people are extremely angry with Rahul Gandhi. They are having a tough time defending it.
Abhishek Sudhir.
I apologize for emergency. Yeah. She needs to apologize for a lot more than that.
No, I think, how can you apologize, quote unquote, for emergency? Constitutional institutions were subverted. The Supreme Court witnessed unprecedented times. Liberty was suspended in this country. I think apology is too small a word for any political party that has imposed emergency in that country. Moving on, Abhishek, coming to you, this kind of narrative from any political leader, and not just from, I'm not talking about what the BJP is saying. I hope you heard what Mr. Ashok Sajjanar also said, that this kind of discourse hurts the image of any country. And Rahul Gandhi is a respected political leader of, the grand old party, of the Congress party. He must have some degree of nuance and perhaps caution when he's making statements like these on foreign soil. Abhishek. Abhishek Sudhir, if you can hear me.
Well, Anusha, in 1974, there was a phrase coined. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, please go ahead. Go ahead.
So, in 1974, there was a phrase coined for the Prime Minister. Indira is India, India is Indira. Elections were supposed to be held in 75. She did not hold those elections in 75, and in 1977, the people of India disabused her of the notion Indira is not India and India is not Indira. Today, the ruling party had to have us believe that Modi is India and India is Modi. Similarly, it's ironic that the Prime Minister is, reading from the playbook of Rahul Gandhi's grandmother, the hidden foreign hand. Everyone is out to get India. India is more than Narendra Modi. It's more than Rahul Gandhi. The Indian economy and its thriving, there's no doubt about it, owes a lot more to the people of India, to the hardworking people of India, than it does to our political leaders. We've just seen a case of corruption in Karnataka where the BJP is in power. So let's not tie in an attack on the integrity of one political party or one ideological organization to an attack on the integrity and sovereignty of the Indian nation. The RSS is not India alone. The BJP is not India alone. Narendra Modi is not India alone.
No, you're right.
I have lived in the United Kingdom. I've lived there for 6 years.
Abhishek,
I have not given up my Indian passport.
I think during the course of this debate, I made this comment earlier. Allow me this interjection and then you finish your point. No, I in fact said during the debate that this is not about a comment on one particular political leader or a particular political party. You're talking about judiciary, you're talking about election commission, you're talking about press in this country. You're talking about en masse all the democratic liberal institutions that exist in this country, and it goes a step further. What is Europe doing about it? What kind of intervention do we need from foreign nations is my question to you.
Do you endorse what Rahul Gandhi said?
Look, I saw what Rahul Gandhi said.
Yeah.
The using of agencies, the using of the CBI, using the Indian state to crush your political opponents was an art that was invented by Indira Gandhi and has been perfected by Narendra Modi. So both these parties don't have their hands clean. What Rahul Gandhi is saying, you can agree or disagree with. Right? That's not the question, though. Does Rahul Gandhi have a right to say what he's saying? Yes, he does.
Yes.
Is what Rahul Gandhi is saying anti-national? Is Rahul Gandhi calling for foreign interference? He simply said he believes that democracy in India is on the decline, and he believes that should be of concern to the democratic world. Now, is he saying to the democratic world, please come and interfere in India's affairs? I did not interpret his comments in that way. Rahul Gandhi seems to have rattled the ruling dispensation. And look, if Rahul Gandhi had made these comments before the Yatra, can I just make my point? If Rahul Gandhi had made these comments,
Mr. Sajjanat, at this point, for 30 seconds, I want you to come in, and then I'll go to I'll go back to my political guest, Mr. Sajjanat.
You know what? What Rahul Gandhi said is that democracy in India is dead. It is not, he didn't say it's on the decline. And he said, I am shocked that Europe and the United States have not come and done anything about it. Maybe it has something to do with trade and money. Anusha, I will tell you, this is exactly the sort of statement made by the leader of my Western neighbor country, Imran Khan. Remember when Article 370 was removed from here? He said exactly the same thing. 370 has been removed, but these countries, Europe and America, they don't say anything about it.
I said this at the beginning of the show, that a right to criticize your government and even your democratic institution is the right of every well-respected Indian citizen in this country, here in India or on foreign soil. But is this not a call for foreign intervention? More importantly, comparing RSS to Muslim Brotherhood, is that a proportionate example or a comparison that any responsible political leader shall draw? Mahimaji.
The comparison is apt and absolute, as I resonated, with Sardar Patel's words when he said that as a final result of the poison the country had to suffer, the sacrifice of the invaluable life of Gandhiji, about RSS. This is what he said about RSS. And then later on, they were unbanned also at the behest of Congress only because we are inclusive, we respect everybody's. That's what Rahul Gandhiji said in London also.
You've not answered my question, Mahimaji. There's a very specific point I'm asking you. That when it comes to quote unquote, what is US and Europe doing about it? When the respected leader from your party said this, what did he mean? That's what various experts, including the former diplomat, is asking you on the show.
Please respect my flow of thought. I'm coming to that, Anusha. Yeah. I'm coming to what you just asked. In fact, let me just, I mentioned about Modi ji's comments earlier in Seoul. Let me just read out once, because he said, now you feel proud to represent the country. In 2015, I'm talking about. Now you feel proud to represent the country. Indians
She's not answering your pointed question.
I know. I'm not. She requested me not to interrupt her chain of thoughts, and I'm not interrupting her chain of thoughts. Okay. But Mahimaji, I will assert that you answer the question on the merits, not on the political whataboutery of it.
Hold on, Anusha. No. See, you can't put words in my mouth.
I'm not.
He said earlier you felt ashamed of being born Indian. This is what he said abroad in Seoul in 2015, 1 year after he took.
So was he right or was he wrong when he said that? When the Prime Minister said that, according to you and in your wisdom, was he right or was he wrong?
I would rather ask you that question, because you're asking me, and I think
ma'am, it's my job to ask you a question. When I'm the spokesperson of a political party, I'll answer that question. But right now, I'm asking you a question.
Also, Rahul Gandhi categorically said, Anusha, that this is we'll deal with our matters internally. But I'm just saying.
No, nothing of that sort.
I have last 30 seconds. Mahimaji, I assert that question to you. What did the leader mean when he said that what are the foreign Western nations doing about when democracy is dead in India?
She won't answer that.
These are our internal matters. He's also said that it is very much their social
That's not what the statement is
Anusha,
on
they
record.
cannot defend this. He also said China believes in harmony. Can you imagine a nation that has detained 1.5 million Uyghur Muslims? He called them, they believe in harmony.
Well, clearly these statements are off the mark, and even if I were to talk about the political narrative and whether it serves the Congress party, it does not. Any right-thinking person who's a student of law and politics will tell you that. But with that, I'm completely out of time. Aparajita Sarangi, Advocate Mahima Singh, Mr. Ashok Sajjanar, Karan Verma, Abhishek Sudhir. Thank you all for joining us on this broadcast, and thank you for sharing your views. A controversy far from over. Well, shifting our focus to another big story of the